this is the 5-minute spin. We're back again, session 2, part 2, talking about the birds and the bees. When to talk to your kids about sex.
We talked about the birds, now on to the bees.
Yes. So we left off with what to say when they come up to you, or what questions they ask.
What I find is with the kids, it's almost natural. They'll start asking about themselves, and then they want to know why they look different. Like a lot of times your kids, if you have more than one child, they bathe in the same, you have them in the tub.
Right. And then we all got the photos.
Yeah, we got the photos.
I mean, now it's child porn, so you can't take them and get it developed. But
showing the little booty in the
we all got the bathtub photos.
But it's funny because they start noticing why are they different, and then you can start explaining about them, about their differences. And it's so beautiful how you can explain how the little girl's different and how she's a mommy and how she's different and how and what the purpose of that is for, and then also the boy, why he is like he is. And it's kind of funny. My wife used an example of Legos. The first time she talked to my son, she said Legos. Well, okay, how do you talk about Legos? Okay, well, you think about Legos, they have a little bubble on one side to connect to the little indentation on the other, right? And
perfect.
They stick together. And so
let's talk about the Legos.
Let's talk about Legos, but that's what they could understand. It's what they could comprehend at that time.
And it makes sense.
Exactly. So
like
you give them a little bit what they need for that time. But when you feel like they're mature enough, because kids are mature in different levels.
Right.
Like my daughter is, my son's a little more mature than my daughter.
Right.
So, and also age-wise, he's older. But when you explained it to him, when I took him and I explained to him exactly what his body part was for, what his penis for, why does it do this, why does it shape like this, why does it go in this way and that. When I explained everything and broke it down, he really understood it. And he said, I understand. But there's another little catch to it also.
Okay.
One of the, and this coming from a little bit of a spiritual background, I told him, okay, that's a physical reality of your physical understanding, but there's a time and a place for that
talk about the emotional aspect.
The emotional aspect.
What comes with sex.
Exactly, what comes with sex and things like that.
And
I said
the reason
why it is because you have the male part and the female part to come together to bring forth children, and the whole reason there's sperm, and the whole reason the woman has egg, and when that meets, and then you explain to procreate.
Exactly.
So then you understand that there is another reasoning behind it, and it's a spiritual bond between the mother and the father when they come together, and then that comes in, and then that plays into marriage,
the pleasure,
because then there's pleasure and all this, and then they talk about marriage. It leads into marriage itself. Now, I mean, so we kind of had that talk and that breakdown.
And you said your daughter was how old?
She's
younger than your son?
She's a year younger, year and a half younger.
Okay, so that's another thing, discussing sex in a way that fits the age and the stage of your child.
Did you talk to both of them together? Like,
separately.
Do they feel
questions that they'll have?
Do they seem like a little awkward when you talk to them about it, or is it because you talk to them from beginning that now they're just at ease? They could easily come to you whenever.
I talk to them right up front, and another thing is that a lot of times our music or on television, they hear and they see things, so they have questions about it. And they're singing some song by Lady Gaga or something. I was like, wait a minute, kids, let me explain to you what they're like. Do you really want to sing those lyrics? They're like, well, what does it mean? And I explained to them.
I think we had this conversation.
We had that conversation.
The whole Rihanna song.
And I was direct and upfront with what it meant.
I mean, Rihanna.
Yeah, can you get it up and all that?
Exactly. And then when I said what it meant, they're like, ooh, Dad, oh. And then I'm like, so you want to sing that around? They're like, no, that's inappropriate. So then they understood.
Right.
See.
So did you also discuss like the consequences of sex, like the STDs, pregnancy, so you just talked about it all?
We talked about everything. So they have a very good understanding.
They're just covered.
They're very covered, but I think we'll revisit it, of course, now that
I guess sometimes having too much information causes you to be curious. Do you think that this is going to make them now become curious when they become quote-unquote of age?
I feel like when you have less information, you're more curious. Like if you have if I had more information, if my mother talked to me about the consequences, about how to protect myself, about everything to do, it's a lot of decisions I wouldn't make. Not to say I made a lot of bad decisions, but I would have
don't touch the fire, the fire is hot. You'll have some people who won't touch the fire.
Well,
other people are going to be like, is the fire hot?
So that's the whole thing. It depends on the person. Like, if you just got to supply people with the information. What they choose to do with it, you can only go from there. You can only do but so much as a parent.
I think, you do. You give them the information, and then you have to let them go. And then you hopefully that you've given them the right tools to take on what challenges come. But I think with the more knowledge, as we did last time, it's more power.
It's better. So this is part 2. Seems like we need a part 3, but thank you, our guest, Vetus, for being here, talking with us. This is D, Sheena J. Please join us again next week, every week, for the 5-minute spin.